very good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you, wherever you might be in the world. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Here in Perth, Western Australia, it's a bit on the chilly side. We've got about 13 degrees. I've got my heater on. But without further ado, I actually should talk about what you're here for, which is the fact that you're here to watch the video on amber. And of course, I'm going to give you some information that I've experienced, know, understand, or researched for the purposes of doing this video. Before I do so though, if you're new to the channel, I want to say thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to the channel. I hope you'll find something that you find interesting and beneficial for you. If you're a returning visitor, as always, I thank you very much for your ongoing support. You will know the next bit. So I don't need to warn you, but for other people who are new to the channel, you might need to be aware. I've got a little doggy here and sometimes he gets a little bit hyper, and he's been a bit hyper today. I'm hoping he's going to behave himself throughout the course of me doing this video. Anyway, I think I've said all I need to. Just a reminder that I do put the timing chapters in the video description, just in case I go down that rabbit warren and I get a bit distracted, as I tend to do. If you're a returning visitor, you will know that. I'm feeling very peaceful today. Anyway, I shall get on with the video. With a thank you, of course. Oh, I know the other thing I need to remind you of, or ask you, special request, which is if you find any of the content useful in the video, could you just give us a little thumbs up to help motivate me to keep making the content? Thank you. So firstly, I'd be really surprised if people were not aware that amber is actually fossilized tree resin, and it's usually got an insect inside or some plant material. Now, if you know anything about tree resin, this is what I've got the image of here, you'll know that the insects are attracted to it for whatever reasons. I think it's actually quite sweet. It depends on the tree that you're getting the tree sap from. But I do remember, I'll share a story with you right from the get-go, is I recall when I was doing art, I was going to technical college, and we were encouraged to do things differently. And what we used to do was go out bush, which for those that aren't Australian, it would probably be similar to saying that you went out to the forest, except we don't have so many trees or shrubs. We're going bush. And anyway, what we used to do was actually break the sap off the trees, which had crystallized. The preferred option was to have the crystallized stuff, and then we would break it down, crush it, turn it into dust, and add, I think it was methylated spirit or some alcohol spirits to it, and then it would form a paint and we'd be able to use it. And anyway, where I'm going with this is because we were using it, we actually had to strain out, when we were making it, we would strain out any plant material or insects that might be caught in it. Anyway, just a bit of useless trivia. But just to be clear about this, when we talk about amber, I guess most of us tend to think of amber being this colour. I've got to admit, before I did the video, my understanding was that amber was more the colour of the tree sap that we see here. And it's not just, so, it might be easy for people to think that if I'm out there breaking bits off bushes to make, trees, to make my paints, then they would think that maybe I'm smashing up amber. Well, the difference is that it's not amber, because amber has specific criteria to qualify for it. And just because it's tree resin that's crystallized and it's got a couple of bugs in it or a bit of plant material doesn't make it amber. So sticking to the mainstream routine today as far as order of slides go, when it comes to the Zodiac, amber is said to correlate with the attributes of the Scorpio, the Leo and the Aquarius. Look, as always, I say I don't know why it might be of interest to some people. It's supposed to be that the properties and attributes of the crystals support the, vulnerabilities of the people of certain star signs, or it helps to build and strengthen the qualities that we associate with them. So Scorpios actually have potential to become master healers should they decide to divert the passion that way. Leos, of course, tend to be, I say this as somebody that's on a cusp actually, So, revealing a bit of information here about myself, I'm a Leo Virgo cusp. Anyway, we have that capacity to be a bit on the fiery side, certainly in conflictual situations until we learn to master it. And so, definitely, I would say amber is very beneficial to those people of a fire sign, not just a Leo. It helps to direct and channel that energy into positive ways, and also to we'll talk about that in the metaphysical properties. It's also beneficial to Aquarius. I got a bit carried away there for a moment. Now, I'm likely to have a bit of a waffle here as well, okay? When it comes to the metaphysical overview of amber, it's considered to be a master physical healer, and you'll see why in the upcoming slides. But as an overview perspective, it is believed to connect a person to the goddess Gaia, the planet, energy of the ancient humans. It's considered to be a sacred stone of the Native Americans. Now, I want to be clear when I say that, that's something I researched, because I'm very aware that people that are Indigenous to an area, they like to tell their own stories. So I haven't been able to get that confirmed, but I can understand, and it would make very much sense to me if it was a sacred stone to the Americans, to the Native Americans. And this is not just because of the fact that it is considered to be a crystal, but because it holds the wisdom of the plants and the animals within it. So this is where I'm going down my tangent. I'm sorry about that. Basically, by connecting to Gaia Earth, you get the planetary wisdom, all that learning that comes through. But with the Native Americans, of course, they value animal wisdom, animal medicine, I think is how they refer to it, or their preference. And so therefore, I think whatever piece of amber, if you were lucky enough to get some, you wouldn't just get the crystal properties, you get the tree properties, because if you're not aware of this, I don't know about the Native Americans, but certainly Irish, and if it's, I always get confused over this, Celtic, whatever the background is, that they actually have plant and tree wisdom. And so you will get those properties as well. We're talking metaphysically, along with whatever animal. So you can see there's a lot comes through with a piece of amber. One of the things that crossed my mind, and I'm just going to mention this here, is with the image here, this is actually a chameleon that's been trapped in a piece of amber. It's fossilized, and apparently it's the oldest one on the planet. I think that piece of amber there, if I recall correctly, is about 300,000 years old. But that's one of the few that I've seen as far as animals or insects that get caught in amber. What crossed my mind with this business of animal wisdom, or animal medicine, as I swallow, is the fact that most of the insects that get caught in amber, they're actually team players, and they work for the greater good of the colony. They're not out there being individualistic, shall we say, and they are all very hard workers. And I say this with the exclusion of team players. The spiders, I mean, we would all love to have a spider trapped in the middle of it, because spider medicine in itself is the manister, it's the weaver of dreams. Of course, they're not a team player, but of course, sometimes they can be found in groups if the wind picks them up. But whether they are part of a colony or not, the bottom line is they work very, very hard towards achieving their dreams. So just something to think about when we talk about a crystal like amber and what we might be able to gain from it. But anyway, let's have a look at the mineral specs, I guess, and what qualifies amber to be called amber. Before we do, though, I just want to draw your attention to this image here, because it's an absolutely stunning piece of amber, and I need to actually mention the copyright, because I really don't want to be busted by it. Who wants to get a copyright fine? But anyway, it is the head of a female divinity or sphinx. You can see the detail there, and it is part of the Getty Museum collection, and I obtained it online on their website. Okay, so if you want to see more of the amber that they've got some stunning pieces there, and clearly if I was able to get to the US, I might consider going to that museum, because it just looks so amazing. Anyway, back to the content. We know it's a fossilized tree resin, and of course there is more to know than that. it has a whole history, not just for being carved into talismans, but also because it used to be, and I think it is still sometimes burned, because when it catches fire, it actually creates an aroma, which just seems so wasteful, actually, for me as a crystal lover. You can find it in a range of colours, but as far as qualifying to be amber, as I said before, I can go and pick my bits off the tree, my crusty bits with the insects inside. But the reason why I'm not collecting amber is because amber, by definition, has to be at least 100,000 years old. And most of the amber, apparently, that's on the market is coming from Colombia or Madagascar at the moment. And so even though it's being sold as amber, it's technically too young to be amber. Well, so one of the sites I found said. So apparently the oldest amber recovered so far dates to a period of about 320 million years ago. I don't know about that. I'm getting conflicting information here. I've saved it here because this is the kind of stuff that really doesn't sit in my head, because what can I say? I get a little bit disinterested in it. Anyway, Baltic amber is the one that most people think of as being high grade, because it's said to be between 59 and 33.9 million years ago. So this makes me question this whole business of, well, if that's the case, why have we got other data that says that the oldest amber is 320 million years ago? Look, maybe it is. But anyway, other places that you can get it from is the Dominicans, but that particular form of amber, I say but like it's not good enough, really, honestly. It's 5.3 million to 23 million years old, and Mexico comes in third, apparently, with amber being found in regions, I can't pronounce this, okay? Chiapas, spelled like Chiapas anyway, where that stuff's 15 to 23 million years old. So, you've got some pretty aged material there. Now, I'm just going to talk also about other locations, because you can apparently source it in Burma, and the area that you're sourcing it from, it kind of has a different appearance. And I haven't been able to get photographs of all of the areas, so I kind of stopped, okay? But where I'm going with this is, if you get the Burmese stuff, it's going to be a little bit cloudier, because as you see here on the slide, amber can be translucent, it can be transparent, and it can be opaque. So I've got to be careful too politically. Burma is now called Myanmar. So in Myanmar, that particular amber apparently is a bit cloudy, so it would be a bit opaque. Canadian amber is known to have a lot of preserved prehistoric insects and plant matter. Ukraine also has the Baltic amber, and that's considered to be high quality. It has lots of inclusions in it. Italy, I found interesting, in as far as it's known for blue amber. Now, I'd not seen blue amber before. I would recommend, by the way, that you use the information that I'm giving you today as, if you're wanting to buy amber, to do a Google to really get yourself familiar with what it is that you're going to look to buy, okay? Lebanon is also known to have some of the oldest ambers. Indonesia and the area around Indonesia, Sumatra and Borneo, they also have amber, but apparently it hasn't been studied as much as the amber that's found in other parts of the world. And apparently New Zealand has a rare form of amber, which is obtained from I would call it carry, the carry tree, because we in Australia have what we call carries, but they spell their tree Kauri. And we all know, and I say this with humour, we all know that the Kiwis can't speak English. So I would imagine that would be carry, but New Zealand version. And for those people that don't live in Australia or New Zealand, you may not know that we give each other a lot of ribbing as nationals. So that's all in jest before anybody gets up in arms about it. Okay, it's a joke. But it's kind of true, because we do speak differently. A lot of people think we speak the same, but we don't. We put emphasis on different vowels. So yes, I think we can all agree that there's a lot of fake amber out there. I'm sure everybody's seen it, whether you like amber or not. You will see fake amber, and it's generally plastic or what is that stuff? well, let's just say high quality plastic, okay? But buying amber is not necessarily as simple as a person would think straight off the bat anyway, because as I said before, you think you're buying amber, but there is a difference because of that qualification that amber needs to be at least 100,000 years old. And so a lot of what we're buying on the market is actually what is called copal. From where I sit, I've got to be honest, from a metaphysical perspective, to me it's amber, okay? But it's like a lot of things. If somebody, because amber is so desirable, it's going to put the cost right up. That, if you like the genuine, authentic amber that's at least 100,000 years old, you're going to be paying probably top dollar for that. So if we're going to pay top dollar for amber, that's what we want to get, okay? From a metaphysical perspective, though, we can still get the benefits of amber, but by copal, okay? Because that's the name of the younger amber, technically speaking. So apparently what's happening is a lot of copal is being passed off as being amber, and it's much younger. And I must say that, in all honesty, I would have to buy from a verifiable supplier of amber or copal, because I actually, when you're looking at it, I really can't tell the difference between it, because amber in itself has so many different shades, and of course they all have different shapes. I don't think I would trust my own eye to be able to pick it, but it might be one of those things that if you've got the real amber sat next to the copal, where you can actually see the difference. But perhaps there's somebody out there that can actually give us some more information about it. I've actually got some amber, and now that I'm doing this research, I'm thinking to myself, I probably was sold copal. Anyway, what else can we say? Oh, yes, just that if you want to buy it, there are some places where you can have it genuine and certified. I'm not quite sure what that means either. I'm pretty sure I could draw up a certificate and say, it's been certified, just using my printer. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it is. You want to have a high quality seller, actually, if you're going to be buying and spending a lot of money. The other tip is that if you're looking for the reddish type ambers, they apparently are far more valuable than the golden amber. And you can even, the blue and green amber is going to be even more expensive because that's far more rare. So just a bit of a tip there. Now, I forgot to mention, in regards to toxicity on the mineral slide, the mineral content. And I think that's very important, because I'll put my hand up and say, you know what, I actually used to sell these types of amber teething necklaces. And now that I've done this, I'd be very, very mindful of this in future. What I hadn't realised is that in more recent years, since I was selling them, is that certainly in Australia, they come with really big warnings. There's actually safety warnings that come out from the government, basically telling people not to use them because they're a choking and a safety hazard. I've got to be honest, I thought, well, what's the validity to that? Is there any evidence to support this up? Is it just alarmist theory? And what I found was that there was one child about 18 months old, I believe, was a fatality. And then there was another child that nearly strangled. And so the point being that if you're going to use them, you've got to actually supervise your children. You can't put them to bed with necklaces on. The other thing is too, back in the day, I remember years ago, there was a different form of amber necklace to this one that was out. And I would imagine that might have been the one that created the choke issues. But the modern ones that are for sale in Australia, if you're able to, I don't know that you can actually see with this, but this is the type of necklace that you would buy. I'm going to put in an extra caution here in a moment too. There's a reason now why I wouldn't promote people to actually use these, but I recognise that people will do what they're going to do anyway. But the bottom line is, with this necklace, each of these amber beads is strung with a knot. Okay, so let's say one of the knots broke. Not all of the beads are going to fall everywhere because the rest of them are knotted and tied together. The other thing is the clasp, which you probably can't see very clearly either. The clasp on this necklace is one that, with a little bit of pressure, it doesn't take much, it's going to unclasp. And so that resolves any issues of strangulation. Apparently the old days, They didn't even have clasps where the necklaces could come undone. So this type of necklace has been constructed in a way to basically do choke and strangulation prevention, which is a good thing. Now, onto why wouldn't I do it now? Why wouldn't I give a baby an amber necklace? Look, we didn't know about them when my children were babies anyway, but I thought they were a brilliant idea, and I actually did buy one or give one to my grandson when he was a baby and teething. I wouldn't do it now, and I'll tell you why. And that is because although amber in itself is not toxic, the fact is it's got decaying particles in it, okay? So it's got plant or animal material inside of it, so there could be some kind of bacteria or whatever in there. And I had never thought of that when I gave it to my grandson, but let's be real, those little teeth, when the baby's teeth pop through, they are like razors. Most mothers know this. So and I forgot to mention on the mineral slide that amber is actually very, very soft. So I would imagine that the baby's teeth can actually scratch through the amber at different times, and they maybe ingest some of the decaying particles. And when you think about it like that, it sounds particularly gross, I must say. Anyway, moving on. So, as far as the spiritual attributes of amber goes, sorry, I had to take a break and come back. When we talk about connecting to Gaia or Mother Earth, we're also talking about connecting to the elementals, and that can be the plants, the devas, the fairies, if people believe in fairies. It's said to bring good fortune and protection, especially for businesses. I should have mentioned also that it's considered to be a stone of connecting with the light beings and accessing the higher realms. And of course, that's for the people that believe in angels, or, as I say, light beings, if that's your preferred term. It's supposed to enhance any magic or magical abilities that people have. And this is why it's promoted as a crystal of manifestation across all the areas, whether it's mind, body, and spirit. If you're setting goals and trying to achieve them, then it's said to help promote that. It's said to bring in good luck in general. And if you're looking to do a rebirth, it's got spiritual rebirth and general wellness as part of its healing attributes. Now, a spiritual rebirth would be kind of like where you've had a crisis of faith and you've hit rock bottom and you decide, no, you're going to realign with your spiritual values and get back on track. If you've lost your path, or lost your way on the path, then it's going to help you to get back on track, shall we say, and also expand and enhance the actual purpose and function that you came here for. Now, I'm just looking at the slide here and I see that I've put in here the notes about a job interview. Because it's a bringer of good luck, or considered to be, you could wear it as a talisman to a job interview to enhance your, what's the word? Can't even think. Your chances anyway of being selected for the particular role that you're looking for. It's said to balance your electromagnetic field. It's also considered to be not just an environmental purifier, I must say. It's also said to purify your own personal aura. Said to enhance memory recall. Now, that can be past life memory as well if you're wanting to do some past life work. And when we talk about life force, I need to have a cough, sorry, just a sec. That's also life will, that desire to be on the planet and be a functioning member of the planet and contributing to the collective, if you like. So it's said to assist with that process as well. So I'm jumping ahead a little bit by referring to the fact that actually amber is associated with the sacral chakra, the orange one. And before I go into the physical healing attributes, I just want to do that disclaimer as well for people that are watching. If you've got any of these conditions that I'm going to run through, then yes, it's recommended for use with these types of health ailments, if you like. But of course, there is no evidence to support that they work, and you would never be encouraged to step away from your professional medical treatment or whatever, because there's no evidence to support it. So the idea is that you stay engaged with your treating professionals, your doctors, your specialists, and then you could use your amber, you could wear it or whatever. We'll talk about uses in a little while, but you would use it as a complement to the current treatments and existing treatments that you've got. So it's supposed to be very beneficial for people with throat and lung conditions, and those conditions can include things like asthma, breathlessness, bronchitis, coughs. Oh, maybe I should get some or start wearing it. And it's also said to be beneficial for dogs that have got kennel cough, just in case people are interested. Now, if somebody suffers from conditions such as tonsillitis or laryngitis and just general throat irritations and disorders in general, it's supposed to be helpful for treating and recovery. It's said to support lung health, especially if people have got conditions where they've got fluid on the lungs, which sounds like pneumonia to me, and it's recommended as a treatment for whooping cough. So it's believed to dispel the fluid on the lungs, okay? So if you know somebody that's got that, or trying to recover from it or ill from it, and you just happen to have a piece of amber, perhaps you can put it in their bed with them or whatever. It's also recommended as a treatment for quinsy. Now, if you're like me, I actually didn't know what quinsy was, but basically it's infected tonsillitis. It's a pus infection, which sounds pretty gross. But anyway, it's supposed to be helpful for that one. If people have got problems with their vocal cords, it's said to protect and strengthen them, which would make it good for orators and singers. It's definitely recommended for babies and for childbirth, to put some in the birthing room, okay? And it's also believed to facilitate the delivery and aid the process of childbirth or child delivery, okay? There is the business of the teething problems, where it's recommended obviously for infants when they're teething, but it might be that you have to find a different way for the babies to actually have it. What are they called? A rattle or a teething ring with amber on it might be a good idea. It's not a necklace, but at the same time you've still got to be concerned about decaying body parts, I would say. Just make sure if you buy one it's fit for purpose, as I said before. What else have I got? It's good for the endocrine system, apparently, and believed to support spleen and heart health, helping them to heal and regenerate from any disease or whatever, and also said to balance, rejuvenate just the entire system. But also if people suffer from goiter, it's supposed to be helpful for those people as well. It's also recommended as a treatment option for people with diabetes. Definitely, I think I mentioned before, general health tonic. People that suffer from bladder infections and disorders, they might be interested in giving it a try. Anything that relates to the urinary tract, it's said to be helpful for. If people suffer from joint inflammation, it's said to soothe it. It's said to relieve toothache, and believed to soothe and calm neuralgia and to enhance and strengthen the muscles and the muscular system. And when it comes to the blood circulation, it's believed to be a treatment for clots and oxygenation of the blood. And I have to wonder about this one as well, chest pains. So I'm always very transparent with what I say. It's believed to be very beneficial to the kidneys, okay? That one's just right up there. If you've got kidney issues, it's supposed to help you with that. What I'm always cautious about is when there's a reference to cancer, and it's supposed to be beneficial for people that have got the kidney cancers as well. Now, the other thing too is when it comes to reproduction, because that's what the sacral area, the sacral chakra governs. So it's very good for anything related to the reproductive organs, and that includes your fertility, the function of your ovaries. If you're a male, it could be impotence. If it's a woman, it might be issues around being a sensual person or enjoying those attributes of life. I'm being very discreet here for the sake of YouTube censorship, but I hope you get my drift. So anyway, it's supposed to be very beneficial for those conditions. So I've just seen the video's getting really long, and I'm sorry about that. That's me today. I was up at 3 a.m. doing some work on my website, so I think it's only 9 a.m. now, but I'm probably flagging a little bit. But anyway, look, the bottom line is it carries all of these attributes that you see on the screen here. But I think a standout thing to mention is that when it comes to mental health illnesses, and by that I mean the significant ones that might be called a psychiatric condition, It's supposed to help a person to recover, to stabilize what's going on internally. And you may as well say, look, if they're as mad as a hatter now, apparently it will help them to get their sanity back. So it's recommended for those people that are just completely psychologically detached from life, living with delusions, paranoias, or whatever. It's said to help them with that. So it's definitely associated with the sacral chakra, as I said before. So the sacral chakra is more than just your passion, your creativity, and all the rest of it. It's actually about facing your fears. So it is where all of our fear sits. A lot of people think that it sits actually in the red chakra. I'm talking about fear, but it actually sits in the orange one. The red chakra is more about survival, whereas the emotional chakra, the orange one, is about choosing to create from your triggers or choosing to react to them. So this is about emotional mastery here. The other thing that I would say is I don't believe that amber is strictly about purely the orange being the sacral and the solar plexus being the yellow. Although the solar plexus is about manifestation and empowerment and confidence and hope and trust and all those other really nice things, it's amber I see to be more than that. I actually believe it's associated with the earth star chakra, which sits about, say, a ruler beneath your feet when you're standing. And that's about grounding and connecting and accessing the Gaia or the Mother Earth energy. And I also believe that it's associated with your third eye, your brow chakra, because it has that capacity to open a person up to their divine gifts and the higher realms. And there's another chakra above the crown that is about, you may as well call it a celestial gateway. This kind of content you'll actually see on my website. This is what I've been working on this morning since 3 a.m. to try and get the images. I'm creating images as well, so that it actually does justice to the conversation I'm trying to build around the chakras, if you like. So just to reiterate, when it comes to amber, I believe it's associated with the earth star, the yellow chakra, the orange chakra, and the brow chakra more than anything else. And then a certain aspect of the amber, but not the primary force, shall we say, associated with it, would be that rainbow chakra above the crown. So where the earth star sits about a foot beneath your feet when you're standing, the rainbow one is about a foot above your head. If you were going to use amber as a talisman, you could wear it as a pendant or a bracelet. The only reason I wouldn't really encourage bracelets, because I actually have a bracelet, probably of copal, as I said before, is the tendency to bang it and knock it, whereas a pendant, it can be protected a little bit more, and because amber is so soft. But you could certainly place it in your environment, in a lounge area or something like that, or beside your bed, or if you've got a small piece, you could put it under your pillow at night as part of helping to balance and stabilize your aura overnight while you're sleeping. You could certainly meditate with it, hold it if you're actually trying to do some active energy work and raise your personal vibration. And then if you had a small piece, you could also include it in your gridding. Just some suggestions. You might have some other ones. I don't think that I would use it for elixirs either. But, I don't really make elixirs, so it's not really for me to say. Somebody else might let us know if they make elixirs from amber. So as alluded to earlier, amber is a messenger. If I had it in my bowl, which I don't, I'll be straight up with that, I do not. But if I did, because honestly, it would actually get damaged probably if it was sitting there with the rest of the crystals. But anyway, the message of amber is going to be as much about the inclusions of what's inside of the amber as it is about the plant material and the resin, and any magic and messages associated with it. But I believe the underpinning message, if we put the plant wisdom and the animal wisdom aside, would be to ground yourself, connect yourself to your earth star. Those people with mental illness and a history of delusions want to be able to reliably access the higher realms. They've actually really got to work on those base chakras first, those lower chakras. So I shouldn't say base, because people think of the red one, But part of stabilizing the mind, the body, and the spirit is actually to anchor it firmly on the earth through the earth star, get those other chakras solid and secure and functioning well, and then build it. And if they think of it in the way of, if you were building a house, you wouldn't build the roof first. You've got to have something to attach the roof to. So somebody that's mentally unwell is trying to put, if they're trying to access the higher realms, they're actually trying to work from the roof and build downwards. Well, the thing is, you've got to have those strong foundations so that your building doesn't become shaky and fall down again. So work from the bottom up. Ideally, work with all the chakras at the same time. That, I guess, would be the primary message of amber. Plus, there is the other bit here, when I think about it, is that if people haven't done their work on their sacral chakra, if they haven't confronted and faced their fears, then the reality is that energetically like attracts like. And so you will continue to attract to you experiences that create fear, or the person that's mentally unwell will. And this is why the whole fabric, if you like, of their psyche and their way of thinking can actually fall down. So yeah, start at the base, secure your environment, then start confronting, working through your fears, unpacking them, so that as you escalate and go higher in your personal development, all of your experiences are going to be ones that you feel encouraged to keep. Oh, what is the word? It's escaping me. You feel encouraged to keep walking that pathway and journey of, I don't know that I particularly like the word ascension, but basically becoming a better human being and a more evolved soul. I think I'll leave it at that. So just a reminder, amber is extremely soft. It also soaks up negativity. It's not one of these purifiers where it just transmutes all the negative around you and in the environment into positive. It actually absorbs it. So it needs to be cleansed regularly, much as you would clear and clean your dishcloth after you soaked up some water or whatever. You've got to make sure you take care of it. That's from an energetic perspective. From a physical perspective, if you're not into the metaphysical and energetic stuff, then my understanding is, and I would recommend people basically do their own research on this, because I don't want to become accountable if you damage your amber. I can't see why anybody would actually clean their amber with chemicals anyway, or wear amber if they had it into a swimming pool that was chlorinated or whatever. But apparently the source that I read said that amber, as far as that goes, is fairly tolerant to basically to chemicals, but what it doesn't tolerate is fire, because it will burn when it's exposed to heat. I will leave that at your discretion, and it's not something that I want to put to the test either. But going back to the metaphysical, I would be inclined to, because I'm always fast tracking it, I prefer to put things on polished selenite. Polished selenite will not do any harm, and it will clear it very quickly. I wouldn't be putting it on the windowsill. The thing with the Australian heat is that it actually gets magnified through glass. So anything that's put on the windowsill in summer will get pretty darn hot. I don't know whether or not that would damage the amber itself. It may lead to fading. That might be an issue. It's, as I said, I haven't tested any of these things out. These are just things that come to mind to me. And I know one person pulled me up and said, it would need to be exposed to light for a long time to lose its colour. It's like, yeah, no, not in Australia, not in some parts of Australia anyway. I had one person that I gave a purple amethyst to, a really dark purple amethyst, almost black, and they put it on their windowsill, and it only took 2 summers, actually, for it to go very cloudy and lose a lot of that brilliance that it had. So yeah, when it comes to amber, I would just be careful, okay? And in fact, actually, another crystal that I've damaged by putting it and exposing it to sunlight is actually a really beautiful honey calcite. So yeah, I would say, look, amber probably can be damaged by sunlight. So my friends, thank you that is it for me today. That's about all I can add as far as information goes. I do invite you, of course, to make your own contributions. Leave a comment below if you've got more information to add to what I've put on this video. Even if you want to do a correction, I invite you, if I've said something wrong or done something wrong, or you believe that I have, whether I have or not really important. Leave a comment because I'm very open to correction. And I look forward to responses. Anyway, my friends, for now, I'm going to say thank you very much for being part of my journey. I'm going to love you, leave you, catch you on the next one. And I'm going to get back to this website now. I might have a break first, though. Take care. Bye-bye for now.